This is Pixel Papas, two sleep-deprived gamer dads hosting a podcast about mobile games marketing and AI, tackling UA challenges and diaper changes. Welcome and enjoy the show. Hey everyone.
Hi, hello.
So, first time in our Pixel Papas history, we are not alone. We have our first amazing guest, friend of ours, that will give us behind-the-scenes look on how to scale merge games. He's a great person, he's creative person, creative idea maker / senior UA manager, which is killer combination in my opinion. Currently working at SuperSolid, primarily on game called Cook and Merge, Kate's Adventure. Please welcome Alan Holub.
Hey guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey!
Yo, long time no see.
Long time no see.
How are you guys doing?
We are awesome. We are always, I guess, good. A little bit less sleep because it's, having little kids. We are not having as much sleep as you have, Alan. How are you doing?
Right. You guys are both new parents, right?
Yeah, that's why we are Pixel Papas.
Pixel Papas. Jesus, I didn't make that connection. So how's the day life?
Sleep deprived. Everything is new. I'm starting to forget the old life. I'm trying to, I used to game kind of a lot. Now I game like half an hour every second, third day. That's
Jesus. That has to be
I'm
tough.
playing every day. I bought this handheld console, so I don't need to be behind the computer. So it's like, great. Just lying in front of a TV when the little one is sleeping and playing Legend of Zelda currently.
Oh, cool.
nice.
Nice.
What do you play, Alan? Do you play anything?
I do play. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? So we are doing this, but you won't laugh. Please don't laugh. So I'm doing this research for rewarded networks because they really do have a hype lately. And I was doing this research, and one offer came up, and it was from Plarium, using Plarium Play to install Raid Shadow Legends, but on your PC. And I used to play a lot of that game. Even when we were working together, I used to play a lot of Raid Shadow Legends. And now I tried okay, so this offer is only for PC. They have their own, thing going on. And I started playing and I'm hooked again. So last week I went out with my friends, came a little bit tipsy at home, started paying for Raid Shadow Legends, which I didn't used to before, and I'm just, it all started
This
again.
podcast is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, by the way.
The only thing in the whole universe that it's not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Right,
So-
but it's a fun game. That's exactly the kind of game for me. But I'm on PC. I was playing Path of Exile, the second one.
What?
had,
Nice. I played that.
That was fun. I played League of Legends for 15 years. Again, please don't laugh. Thank you. Milan is a good guy. And of course, Cook and Merge.
Nice. And
Nice.
okay. And what is so you play a lot. I actually didn't know that you play games at all, and now I see that you play a lot.
Dude, I build my own computers. I play that's my pastime, cooking and playing computer games. That's what my life is about. Maybe traveling a little bit as well. But
Why
yeah.
League of Legends again? Why you come back to the game? Because you stopped playing
Dude,
some time
it's
ago.
so easy to just forget about everything when you're playing League of Legends, right? Like Path of Exile, stuff like that. It's more of, you don't have to be so focused, right? But in these high-paced MOBAs, even Dota and stuff like that, you have to be so focused that you forget about everything. I'm trying to limit that, right? It's not.
Did
very
you watch
productive.
Arcane, by the way, since you play League of Legends?
It was amazing. Amazing. Yeah. But I still think that it can be quite enjoyable even if you don't play the game, right? Like it was a good series. I think even if you don't like the game, you have to admit that series was good.
All right,
Very
let's move to creatives. All right.
Yes.
So you are a creative person. You're a person. What makes a creative a great one?
Okay. It's do you think there's a direct answer to that? Like, do you think there's one thing, like, so for example, even if you combine the traditional kind of marketing, what you always want to do with advertising is somehow like make people feel something, right? So either you have these motivators where you base your creative strategy. Most of the people use them. You use them because you kind of want people to feel something when they see your ad, and you want to do that, right? Those emotions can be very, I think, superficial, like having fun or relax or be the other person and stuff like that. But I think the what makes a really good creative a great one is uh, like to feel a very strong emotion. If it's excitement. So, for example, I'm gonna talk about this because that's part of the direct competitors that we have in Cook and Merge. But like Gossip Harbor, which is the strongest player right now in the genre, is using the Frozen Lady, the kind of very emotive where you kind of killing off a mother with her child, and you make a couple of bad choices and stuff like that. And as much as I hate those creatives, it kind of works because, you know, it's a very strong emotion and doesn't have to be positive or negative, but like it is there. Like if you're doing Candy Crush, like, doing UA for Candy Crush or doing creative strategy for them can be really difficult because like the game has been there for a while, right? And even though like you can see maybe high polished videos right now, it's all just gameplay, like it's all like very satisfying uh, explosions and stuff
Blasting.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like that. But then you see like what creative strategy went a royal match, and suddenly they're killing off their king, and that's the really big difference of like having only the excitement of our core audience only cares about like popping those bubbles, or like doing something a little bit deep. And I think this is the thing that and that emotion can be anything, like the goblins thing, what's it called, those really satisfying golden goblins,
Yeah, something like
like
that.
the ones that
Goblins
you are
game.
like you're farming gold and stuff like that. It's just really nice to look at, and it's an emotion as well, right? It's relaxing to look at. I mean, it's like I want to be
Satisfying.
I want to be as relaxed as this while playing. So I think emotion. That's the answer.
This is exactly the thing we were talking about for the past two episodes. The emotion sells you the creative. We were talking about different kind of games. The emotion is the most important thing because you can quickly adapt to that because you had this emotion. You've been sad or happy, and it's easy to sell your game through the emotion. So, for example, as you talk about this thing with there is mother and they are suffering, you are helping them by merging something, right? So they are giving you the glimpse of what the gameplay is about, and you are solving the problem at the same time. So this is how they show you that okay, merging can be really fun, and also selling you through these emotions. So it's definitely our take as well on this. Very very good answer, Alan.
Yeah, well, your background is always from traditional kind of marketing, right? And then that's what you learn there. Like
Yes.
emotion sells. Like, so nothing new.
But do you think that it's important which emotion you focus on?
You need to know your audience, right? Like, so for example, I think very important part of putting together a good user acquisition creative strategy is not only those motivators, but filling out the user profiles, right? So a user profile doesn't have to be motivated only by one thing, right? And the combinations of those motivators are, I think, more important than filling out the motivators by themselves. So, for example, if I have very well defined user profile, I know that they're social, I know they're competitive, and I know they like to progress in the game. So I'm not gonna do three creatives for them. I'm gonna combine these three motivators into one, which I'm gonna make one stronger than the other. And I think if you don't know these things about your audience, then I think it's one of the very big priorities of creative strategy to know what drives people to install and play the game.
Nice, very interesting. Cool.
Mhm. And do you think that you have to know this before you even starting to developing the game, or you know it after testing, after you see who is reacting to your ad?
So naturally, when you're developing a game, you have to know like who do I market the game for? Who is it for, right? That game. And but in the beginning, I think that's just a guessing game, right? And then with testing and with user acquisition or with data, you have to collect that, and you have to make database estimates of, okay, so this is one bucket of people, and this bucket just plays the main board, doesn't care about this. That there is a second bucket of people that is highly competitive, only plays second board, and is very social and likes to be in inside of the clan and tournaments and just uses the chat. So maybe the guess was right. Maybe this is exactly the user profile that you defined before you knew. I think you need to get there. You need to know that who do you market the game for. And there's one other thing that I wanted to mention is that sometimes even though people behave a certain way inside of the game, so they're, for example, highly social, I don't think that necessarily is a driver for install. So, for example, if you base the creatives on the social aspect of the game, it doesn't have to be attractive for them because they don't realize that they are social. For example, I wouldn't, like, if somebody told me, like, play World of Warcraft because you're going to have a lot of friends. I'm like, what? Why would I play World of Warcraft because I can meet, like, these weirdos online? Like, this wouldn't be a motivator for me. So I still think that you need to, like, even though people are social or people are competitive, it doesn't have to be like the driving force for install and engagement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the like motivators or target audience that you work on cook and merge? We mentioned that. What's your audience?
So naturally, the puzzle games attract very female focused audience, and I think the motivation for gaming in that kind of segment is primarily relaxation. For the older part of the audience, it's definitely progression because, like, they want to progress, and that's why, for example, some of the creators from even Candy Crush, the UGC ones, I don't know if you've seen them, but those ladies saying, like, you have 1,500 levels, and it's for some people it's anxiety inducing, like this is too much, but for them this is exactly what they're looking for. They like to progress. They like to see that they can spend 7 hours daily for next 5 years inside of the game, and that's motivating for them. And I think this is one part. So seeing how big, like, the world is and how much you can do, and you can get better than others, I think that's one part. And I think completionism, but that's with all of the renovation-based games, right? So you get a really crappy cafe or a restaurant, and you try to renovate it, and you get really big satisfaction from completing that.
Yeah, and by these motivators, you can actually differentiate yourself on the market, right? What emotion you are trying to sell. So, for example, let's take Marriage Mansion. It's all about the secrets, uncover the secrets, this hidden story. What is the thing the Cook and Merge has? Do you have something like that? Do you want to communicate some kind of story to differentiate yourself, so not be just a merge game?
Yeah. So Merge Mansion is a good example because, like, their creative strategy is very narrative based, right?
Yes.
And I think, man, somebody's gonna slap me, but I think it's very narrative based because the gameplay itself is lacking, and therefore they need to find a way hook the kind of catch the attention, and like, okay, so people are going to be interested in the story because the gameplay has its limits. I think about your question, I think it's important to find your way, and it's really important, and it's really important for me to differentiate yourself and not just blindly follow the trends. That's really easy, right? But you're never gonna make a really huge impact if you just follow what others are doing, right? So I'm always trying to find uh, our own concepts. I'm not saying that we are not getting inspiration from competitors. I think you need to do that. And if you have really big players that are making and spending 7 figures a month, then you need to go and get inspired, because you know that something's working on what they're doing. So Travel Town, for example, is a really good example of thing that they had one concept that you could call like an evergreen concept that you would call a killer creative, because they were running that for more than 2 years. And it was very anxiety inducing, right? You were trying to serve the customers, and those customers had time limits, and you would eventually fail, right? Because it would get really chaotic, and you would eventually just not make it, and you would get fired. And we, after testing and testing and testing, we just know that our audience is not interested in that. And we made the same thing, right? And we could see that our audience just does not respond well to that. So, and that's good, because we know that there's a difference in our audience and Travel Town's audience, and that's fine. And that's why we were trying to look for our own way.
And what is the important metric when you're saying like this didn't work for us? Was it CPI,
I
CTR? Like, what was your metric?
I think like those basic creative metrics. I think the most important is the combination of IPM and scale. And then of course post install metric. The most important post install metric is revenue and ROAS, right? So I think, but even if it has good like creative performance indicators, like conversion rates, CTR, stuff like that, all put into IPM, you still need scale. If that creative is not spending, then what is it good for? So I think combination of IPM and scale is very important. And of course, you need to get revenue. So
Right. So so obviously you will need to focus on performance and the metrics, but you also, your background and how you think about the emotion, it's and differentiation, it's almost like a brand building for your game. So
yeah.
what's your take on brand against performance?
So I've been saying this ever since we guys used to work together. So that's like a while ago. And I think we can see that already, that brand building is like the companies and gaming studios are trying to like approach user acquisition in a different kind of way. And well, I wouldn't call it user acquisition. Maybe I would call it growth marketing. And you could see on really big live events, they are getting sponsored by games already, Super Bowls and stuff like that. And I think if you think about how huge the mobile gaming industry is and how much money the studios are making, I think brand marketing is inevitable next step, right? If you have a massive game like making over like if you have a top 50 grossing game, I think it's inevitable next step for you to build brand around it, right? And those metrics are not going to be only performance marketing metrics, but it's going to be, brand recognition, brand recall, stuff like that. And I think this is not going to be true only for the big companies. I think that's going to be true for any kind of gaming. Gaming is not a niche anymore. Gaming is like, you remember, like we were young when we were playing World of Warcraft. If you told your crush that you spent 40 hours gaming, she would just not speak to you anymore. Like she would be disgusted.
But
And
listen,
now,
I used to tell my ex-girlfriend that my mother tells me and yells at me if I come home later at 6 p.m. So I had to go home, but I was actually raiding.
You see, like, dude,
Oh
I
my
was like
god.
playing Dota on Warcraft map back in the day, right? Not a standalone. Like again, I had what you can call a girlfriend, and I was like, I can't now. I'm doing this and this and that. I was gaming because I was ashamed to tell her that I was gaming. Right now, it's just normalized, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can talk about watching anime, you can talk about playing games, and it's just everybody games. And so that aspect is completely changed. So I think if you put up a TV ad, it's gonna go well, even if you're not a huge massive game. Like if you think about it, if you want to do a TV campaign in Slovakia, you're talking about like a six-figure budget, right? Six
Mhm.
figures a monthly budget is not even for a massive game, right? Like those budgets are so much higher than that. And so I think that's gonna be, I think, next step, and people who are going to understand this, that mobile games are just a normal thing and everybody games,
I
uh
agree with you. Yeah, I agree with
gonna
you
change.
without the branding, it's not gonna be the way how to scale your game. But like you can do both. You can do performance, like you said. You see your competitors doing something, you just copy it and use it in your marketing mix. But next to that, you can build your brand as well with other creatives. I saw some LinkedIn comment that it was like, I tried branding marketing and it's not working for my game. It's not a short-term goal. Short-term goals are your performance campaigns you are running. You see something, you make a video, you get money from it. This is long-term, so you don't need to you don't need to show, the one ad you created, I don't know, with some actor, and then look at the results and say it's not working for me. You can run this ad in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, and again to slowly going under your customer skin. And this is what some games are already doing. We see some Pedro Pascal for marriage mention. I love those ads. That's why I'm mentioning them. And games are going in this direction slowly. But as you said, even smaller games will do it. I think. But they need to understand it, because I don't think that mobile gaming studios understand what brand communication really is. We will have the podcast with guests in a few weeks that we will talk only about that. Um, and there is like the current market, or thinking behind the running it. It's very result based. So when you see a result, if it's working or if it's not, and if you want to invest money in it. So this will switch, I think, as you said, in the future as well, because when you reach some level by your performance and it's not going higher, you need to have brand there to go higher and higher, to discover new limits.
I think regarding the brand, it's also the industry itself. How I think the industry is scared of brand marketing because, as you mentioned, Martin, you cannot analyze it
Evaluate.
as much as you
Yeah.
can and evaluate as much as performance. Like, the whole industry is used to like seeing data on the next day. When the privacy stuff came, people are still kind of, they don't like it. Oh, I need to wait 2 days until I see some kind of a data, and it's basically prediction still. People hate it, and it takes time for the whole industry to get used to and to feel comfortable to spend and then not see results immediately. Like, we still have a clients who are asking every second day, like, okay, what's the CPI now? Okay, why are we spending on this specific campaign? Why are we doing this and that? Can we turn this off, right? And I think this is the problem of the whole industry. But as a performance marketer, I have to agree with you that there is inevitable change that will, it's gonna happen, that industry will get comfortable with brand marketing because they'll have to do it to differentiate.
Yeah, but I also think, like, if you for example look at e-commerce, it's not one thing or the other. Like it's just different departments, right? So performance marketing is never gonna go out. Like the very good point that Lucha made. was that if you reach a certain point, performance marketing is hardly going to help you. But you need to reach that point with performance marketing. So I think it's not one or the other. It's one and the other that you are supposed to be doing. And we know that performance marketers can't do brand marketing because they think that it's shit. It's not doing anything because it's so difficult to evaluate. Like, it's not like your organics are going to be inflated, and the performance marketers are going to think that it's because of their job, but it was the brand marketing. So it's, and performance marketers hate brand marketers, and brand marketers think that performance marketers are just apes that are, switching campaigns on and off. So, you need to separate them and do both.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we can wrap it up here. And we have final surprise for you, Alan.
Oh.
And it's a test.
It's not literally a test. Don't be afraid.
It's not a test. We, with our guests, we want to have this section when we ask them questions, and you can answer only yes or no. There are 5 questions. No. Only yes or no are the answers you can have. Can we start?
Sure.
Milan, I can do all of them, right?
Go with all of them. Sure.
Okay. So let's start with the first question. Is CTR more important creative metric than ROAS?
Is CTR more important metric
than ROAS?
No.
Will AI replace majority of marketing roles in next 5 years?
No.
Did the egg existed before chicken?
Egg before chicken. No.
Do you think hook is the most important creative aspect?
No.
Do you think fake ads should be banned?
No. There was a straight no.
Nice. This is it.
I have additional. Okay, I'll give you a bonus question, which is not yes or no. If you had to sacrifice one food for the rest of your life, would it be kimchi or ramen?
Ramen, 100%.
So you would sacrifice ramen for kimchi?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I can't live without fermented food, man.
All right. Cool, Alan. That was interesting one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming here. I hope
Thank you
you'll
for
come
having
again.
me. Yeah, sure. No problem.
I think we shouldn't pick the better first guest as Alan.
Thank you.
Than Alan.
Yeah.
Very honored.
Thank you for having you here. Thank you for all you listening to this point. This was Pixel Papa's podcast. See you next week.
See everybody. Thanks again.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.